Never feel happy. Never feel happy. No, you won't. Until you try.
Okay, so welcome back to the second part of your journey, basically, where you should have already gone through the nutritional videos talking about nutrition, tracking, and your calorie intake. Um, this is basically the second part of the puzzle, which is activity basics, which we cover different parts of burning calories per day. I think there's some parts of it that you'll find surprising because most people think it's only about exercise, but you'll see through this podcast that there's quite a few elements that you can influence for your daily expenditure in terms of burning calories. Um, so you remember last time we discussed about your resting metabolism and basically how much um, burn calories throughout the day. So I think that the starting point should be, how do we actually burn calories? Now, we covered pretty extensively last time about the resting metabolism rate and how that is one of the biggest parts of your calorie burn. At the same time, there's calories burnt, which you can see it here on the chart, called food-induced thermogenesis, which I basically try to simplify, and it's just digestion. So there's certain foods that you digest that take more calories than others. And then you have the physical activity, which is a combination of exercise and how much you move throughout the day. So you'll see all kinds of these, online. I mean, it's a simple calculation. It's basically your resting metabolism, which is, BMR. So that's if you stayed sleeping all day. Those are the calories that your body needs to maintain life. Then you'll hear something called TEF, which is basically exercise. And then you'll hear NEAT, which is non-exercise activity. Which is basically, walking around, moving around throughout the day. And then you have also your digestion, which, all comes into your total daily expenditure of energy, right? So I think whichever way you look at it, you basically have to think about all these different elements. And I think the simplest way to do that is to look at them as pieces of the puzzle. But what most trainers do and most coaches do is that they overcomplicate the discussion, or they oversimplify when they're working with clients. What I've tried to do here is I've tried to, simplify it down to the simplest kind of language so that it's very clear to everybody what they have to do. So I think a simple way to look at it is to say, okay, you have your exercise, so that's what you do in the gym. You have your activity, what they call activity here, and I changed the naming when it comes to what we do in our podcast. Activity is basically steps, moving around, what kind of job you have, whether it's physical, whether you're sitting in an office. Digestion, which I already explained, and then your resting metabolism, right? So if we look at it just as a simple pie chart and say, okay, what does that look like? And which ones matter the most? So, I mean, what most people believe is they think, okay, if I hit the gym, I'm going to turn around and burn more calories. Part of that is true. I mean, if you do hit the gym, you probably burn more calories than you used to. But if you look at it, I mean, obviously the biggest one is your resting metabolism, and we'll show you how you can influence that. You have your digestion, which is even bigger than exercise, and even bigger than both of them is how much you move around per day. So the famous steps that you see people posting or talking about, or some trainers, or actually most successful trainers will talk to you about, number of steps you do per day or how much activity you do per day, right? So let's keep it super simple, right? You have exercise, digestion, moving, and resting, right? So, I mean, the whole idea is that you can influence all of these. And if you're able to influence all of these different elements, you're actually able to burn more calories per day, um, which means that you'll reach your goals faster. At the same time, you'll probably over time be able to have a higher daily calorie intake, which is also nice because you'll be able to actually have more volume of food throughout the day and continue to make progress of losing body fat.